History often begins quietly. On the night of April 18th, the alarm didn't come as a single shout. It rippled across the countryside like a stone dropped into still water. Paul Revere, William Dawes, Samuel Prescott. Names we remember, but the night belonged just as much to the unnamed, to the mother shaking her husband awake, the boy who thought barking dogs sounded like thunder, the farmer who lit a candle and saw a rider at his gate. The message was simple. It was urgent. It was unmistakable.
The regulars are out! Sound the alarm! The regulars are out! Hundreds of them! They're headed for the stores!
And in Lexington, one man, already fighting for breath, rose from his bed. I'm historian Lisa Weakland, and welcome to Historical USA. Today we are stepping into a single day, April 19th, 1775. A day that began in fear, unfolded in confusion, and ended in a kind of fierce clarity. This is the story of Captain John Parker, the men of Lexington, and the moment history would remember as Parker's Revenge. Now, to understand this day, we first must meet Captain John Parker. Born in 1729, Parker was a Lexington farmer, mechanic, and veteran of the French and Indian War. Now, he had fought at Louisbourg and Quebec. He had seen the brutality of the empire up close, and he returned home with a soldier's eye and a craftsman's hand. But by 1775, Parker was dying. Tuberculosis had hollowed his chest. Neighbors said they could hear his cough across the green. And yet, when the alarm came, he rose. Not because he expected glory, but because he knew that his men would look to him for leadership. At dawn, about 80 militia stood on Lexington Green. Not soldiers. These were neighbors. These were fathers, sons, blacksmiths, shopkeepers, and Parker would give the orders that would echo through the centuries.
Stand your ground. Don't fire unless fired upon. But if they mean to have a war, let it begin here.
There was a tense silence. A single shot. No one knows from where. Then a British volley. 8 colonists fell dead. 10 more were wounded. Parker's cousin Jonas lay among the dead. The survivors fled. Parker, coughing blood, was pulled from the field. But something in him hardened. While Lexington mourned, the British marched on to Concord. At the North Bridge, colonial militia confronted them. Shots rang out. British soldiers fell back. Reverend William Emerson wrote, "The war had begun, and no one could tell where it would end." But for Parker, the war may have begun, but the battle was not ended. Hello, history friends. I am so excited to announce that we have partnered with Classical Learner. I am a historian, but more importantly, I am a homeschooling mother. Now, I get questions all the time from other homeschool parents and other parents concerned they might not be teaching their children enough social studies or civics or history. Classical Learner is a great way to help your child in all of those areas. Their children's book series, Cubs to Bears, will help your children understand things like what is the First Amendment? What is the Second Amendment? What is the Federal Reserve? They will teach your children things like critical thinking and health and nutrition. One thing that I'm really excited is they are also now rolling out historical works. Their first is George Washington by Ferdinand Schmidt that was originally published in 1911. Now, this book tells the story of George Washington from his upbringing to his ambitions to his ascension as the father of a new nation. It provides a really unique insight into the grievances of the American colonists and the issues they had with England and the culture that made 1776 possible. This is part of classical learners' mission to take lost, unpolitically correct history and make it available to the public. And you can get 10% off of any of these products when you use the coupon code HistoricalUSA. You can visit the link down below in the description bar if you are interested in taking a look at some of their children's books and some of these great historical works. Now back to the video. Back in Lexington, Parker gathered the remnants of his company. Some were wounded, all were shaken. One militia later wrote, "I could not look upon the green without seeing the body of our friends." Parker's words were hoarse, but his meaning was clear. The day is not done. We shall have our revenge. Now, this was not vengeance in the modern sense. No, it was a restoration. It was a reclaiming of their dignity. Parker, leaning on that guerrilla training he had learned during the French and Indian War, chose a wooded rise east of town, a narrow road flanked by stone walls and thick trees, a place where a sick man could outthink and outmaneuver an empire. It was late morning. The British column was retreating from Concord. They were tired, dusty, and stretched thin, and they marched straight into Parker's trap. One British account later admitted, "We were fired upon from all sides. Numbers of the rebels concealed behind walls and trees. Parker's men fired, they reloaded, and they fired again. They shifted positions, striking from new angles. Many of the British had never seen this kind of fighting before, and they faltered, then hurried forward under fire. It was brief, it was fierce, and it was enough. The same men who had scattered at dawn now bloodied the king's troop. This moment, this ambush, unnamed at the time, would later be called Parker's Revenge. Not because Parker sought personal vengeance, but because a community needed a moment that matched its courage. After Parker's ambush, the British retreat collapsed into complete chaos. Military companies from across Massachusetts lined the road, nearly 4,000 by the day's end. The British suffered heavy casualties. The colonists were fewer, but they were determined, and they held the field. Unfortunately, Parker would not live to see the revolution unfold. Tuberculosis would claim his life just 5 months later, but his final act, that brief ambush on a wooded rise, became a symbol of resolve. For generations, Parker's revenge lived mostly in local memory. But in 2015, archaeologists actually confirmed the site. They found musket balls, they confirmed firing angles, terrain analysis, and it all aligned with accounts passed down. History and memory collided and met on the landscape. On April 19th, they stood, they waited, they fired, and in so doing, they began a nation. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into Lexington and Concord, particularly Parker's Revenge. It is a moment where history, memory, and emotion just really collide. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe to Historical USA, and if you can, comment and hype this video. And please consider to support my channel through YouTube and Spotify memberships or on Patreon at patreon.com/historicalusa. And as always, I am historian Lisa Weakland, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.